So we're going to start by just sitting together for a little bit. And what I'd like you to do, if you have a meditation practice or not, or you sat before or not, it doesn't matter, for just our time, to just be still. To just let everything go. To leave everything that you call me and my life at the door. For just a little bit, just to sit here unencumbered. Without any pressures, nothing to do, nothing to fix, nothing to get. To just simply be here quietly. So we'll sit together now. Now what shifted from the time you were sitting until the bell rang? After the bell rang, what happened? Some energetic shift happened. It's like came back to myself, or came back into my head, or what? Something changed perhaps for you. And maybe nothing changed. Maybe you're completely as you are. But this is just something to notice, to start to observe yourself at the transition points. At the transition points from one moment to the next is where, if you start to observe yourself, you start to notice your patterns. Patterns of movement. Because everyone wants to be happy. That's the nature of our human species. Everyone wants to be happy quite naturally. And so we search for happiness. We search for happiness through our senses. If it looks good, and if it feels good, and it smells good, and it tastes good, it makes us happy. Go for a walk in the park on the sunny day, and it's so joyful, it makes you happy. It's beautiful. People search for happiness through the senses, not just in experience, but also in relationship. My family will make me happy. My children should make me happy. My partner should make me happy. My work should make me happy. And so we search outside for the experiences that will make us happy. And we find them, more or less. But they never last. Because the next day when it's rainy and you got stuff going on and the car won't start and the kids are screaming, where did the sunny day in the park go? It's gone. So searching for happiness that way, eventually you realize it doesn't last. So then there's a possibility to start turning inward. And the very legitimate question is, well, how can I be happy when there's so much suffering in the world? My God, the horror of not only what nature does to us, but what we do to ourselves, what we do to nature, what we do to the world is so painful. How can you be happy? It's a legitimate question. The answer is that your unhappiness won't make it better. But your happiness has a possibility to make a difference. Because in your discovering the root of happiness, you discover what's not selfish. You can't be selfish and happy. When you're selfish, you're hungry. You want more, better, different. It's about me and mine. It's fear-based. Selfishness is fear of me, for me and mine, protecting me and mine. There's no happiness in it. And so then happiness is searched for in short-term sensual experiences. But to be willing to transcend me and mine, to transcend our own inherent animal selfishness consciously is to discover happiness. Because there's no selfishness there. And in the absence of selfishness, what remains is happiness. Your own nature, where nothing is needed. You're not hungry. You're not unfulfilled. You don't need the world to give you happiness. You don't need the world to give you love when you realize you are love. And so while it could seem like a selfish act to be happy in the midst of suffering, in fact it's a selfless act that promotes love and truth instead of suffering, in the face of suffering, in the midst of suffering. And that's the living potential that we have. That's the untapped nature that's waiting for its time to be expressed. And this is the time. This is the time because it's between ages, when the old order is breaking up and the new order hasn't been formed yet. When the old systems are in chaos and breaking down. That's the time when there's something possible, something new and fresh and unexpressed. I'm just reading a book about the last little ice age that happened in Europe in the 1500s through into the 1700s. There was a little ice age where unseasonably cold weather all the time and hot droughts in the summer and crops ruined and starvation and famine. And at that time the society had been stable. It was all about church and castle. You either were in the church and castle or you're working for the church and castle. You were serf. That was life. It was stable, it was like that, and it's going to be like that. And then suddenly the rains don't come. The sky gets dark, the weather changes, crops are lost, people are hungry. And in that breakup, new forms start to evolve. Suddenly, the common land that was shared by everybody is now owned by the lords. The Enclosures Act make it profitable, so that what was once common land becomes a profit center. And the society moves from castles and churches to the marketplace. And the marketplace is part of the Enlightenment. Fraternity, equality, brotherhood. When you meet in the marketplace, you meet as equals. You're all common under the law. It's not about lord and serf anymore. It's about trade and commerce. And that becomes the new God. That's the place of worship, is the marketplace. And what's worshipped is money. Before this, in church and castle, there's no money. Peasants never see money. But then now they're thrown off their land, they've lost their crops, they have to move to the city, and they have to get a job, start working. In the marketplace, the theology of the marketplace is that everyone benefits. Everyone is lifted up. And to a large extent that happened through World War II. The middle class expanded and grew prosperous in the marketplace. But the problem is, every theology never meets reality. And the theology of the marketplace is that you always have to grow. That's been assumed since the 1600s. You have to continue growing. Well, growing means destroying the earth. So it gets to a point where the self-destructive mechanism is poisoning itself. The marketplace is no longer a functional model. And part of the myth of the marketplace is that it would bring freedom and democracy and equal rights. And it didn't. It hasn't. Didn't do it in Russia. That was the whole thing. They moved capitalism into Russia so that everybody would have a free, equal democratic system. It didn't work. Same thing in China. There's a marketplace, but there's not freedom. And so the myth of the marketplace, which has been the central myth of Western civilization, is now sinking. And who knows what will replace it. But this opportunity is for people like you and me to wake up and be free in the midst of it. And in being awake and free in the midst of it, a different kind of community forms. A community of truth seekers, a community of love, a community of common sense, a community of clarity, where there's no need for worship, no need for religion, no need for anything other than the basic goodness of yourself and the willingness to give yourself so fully to the basic goodness of yourself that me and mine becomes in service of that instead of that being in service of me and mine. And that's the possibility. That's why we're here. So I'm so grateful that you're here. So to wake up and be free is to wake up from all of your false identities. And that has to be your own self-examination. Nobody can do it for you. You have to be willing to look at yourself and see. Okay, so I have an identity as a son or a daughter. I have an identity as a parent. I have an identity as a partner, as a mother, a father, a sister, husband. Is that who I am? Is that what is fulfilling? Is that what gives my life meaning? For most people it is. Most people have given their lives to their family, but they're not happy. They blame the kids, they blame themselves, they blame their partner, they blame the economy, they blame because I'm not happy. Even though I'm a good parent, I'm a good mother, I'm a good provider, I'm a good whatever it is, I'm not happy. And so people settle for happy enough, good enough. Because you can look around, compare yourself and see, hey, you've got it better than most of the world, so not so bad. And that's the deals we make with ourselves, the compromises we make. But if you're not willing to compromise, if you're not willing to make a deal, then you face yourself directly. And you tell the truth to yourself directly. And you examine yourself and see, what is it I really love more than anything? What is it I'm willing to give my life for? And when you ask yourself deeply, you'll discover the truth. And the world will flip upside down and right side up. Because everything you believe is real is not real. Everything. Literally, actually, factually, everything you believe is real is not real. From the smallest to the biggest. We live in trance. We live in, like the Russian dolls, one within another. We live within a trance, within a trance, within a trance. The first trance is the personal trance about me and mine. It's driven by fear for survival, and then recognition to try to get love, ambition. And that's the me and my trance. That's in the bubble of your family trance. And the family trance is in the bubble of the community trance. And that's in the bubble of the society trance, in the bubble of the world trance. Each bubble has its beliefs, its ideas about what's real. Money. Money is a trance. What is it? It's a piece of paper, right? I mean, it's actually not even paper. I don't know what you people make this stuff out of. This is what you give your life for. spend your days with. Spend your days counting and working towards and accumulating and spending. But it's just paper, and we know it's paper. But we believe it has value because even if I know it's just paper, I know you believe it has value. And as long as you believe it has value, it works. You know? It's all like that. The calendar is mythology. 2,000 years, what is that counting? What if the calendar started when humans started? Or what if it started when the earth started? When I was growing up, we didn't know how old the universe was. Einstein and that generation believed the universe was static, was here forever, and it'll be here forever. Not true. It's made up. It's a trance. The trance of time and space. So this 2,000-year trance, what that does, it makes us seem more important. If it's only been happening for 2,000 years, your life actually means something. If it's been happening for a couple of billion years, you know. And so that's part of the trance we live in that gives us self-importance. And it's useful. It sets the theater of life. It's a stage. It's a prop. So to wake up from the trance has to be the willingness to be alienated from it. As long as you're a complete devotee of your church, there's no way you're going to wake up from it. Because you live in it, you speak it, it speaks you perform the obligations, it nourishes you, your family goes. It's an integrated system, there's no escape. There has to be some break, some dissociation, some alienation, where suddenly you see through it. And you go, oh my God, that's not what I thought was at all. That alienation, that separation, is part of the individuation that allows us to actually have a choice of freedom. Because there's no freedom in life. It's all conditioned based on genetics. It's like genetics are like the dough or the whipped cream that comes through the nozzle of the pastry chef, and as it gets squeezed out, those ingredients going through that particular nozzle makes this kind of clump. And we call it me. But that's just genetics and circumstance. So genetics and circumstance definitely create unique me's. Just like I'm told that there are unique snowflakes, that every snowflake is unique. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's the common knowledge that I've learned, is that every snowflake is unique. So what? How many snowflakes do you have to look at? Same thing with people. It's only because we're in it and of it that it seems so important and unique and different. But you just take a slightly larger view and you see the hive. You see the hive scurrying around on its little man-made runways. So, our point of view shapes our reality, and we call it real. But it's just a trance. And the most amazing thing is how books have created the trance that the world we're in. There were 3 great novels that come out of the Bronze Age. So, there was a point where we humans just did everything with rocks. And when we went to war, we threw rocks at each other. But once we got to developing metal, and we developed bronze, and you could make a sword, it became the time of the hero. Now it could be one person out with the sword against the person from the other side out with the sword, and it's not a whole bunch of guys throwing rocks. It's the age of heroes. And this age of heroes goes into mythology. And when it gets written down, It gets written down in 3 different places, but it's basically the same story. In India, it's the Mahabharata. In Greece, it's the Iliad and the Odyssey. And in the Middle East, it's the 5 books of Moses. These are the 3 great Bronze Age novels. And when they get written down, the Bronze Age is already so far in the back. It's been transmitted orally for so many generations that gods are involved. Gods are walking on earth. Gods are intervening in life. This is the Bronze Age. It's the Mahabharata. It's God Krishna in the chariot. In the Iliad and the Odyssey, it's the gods and goddesses playing with the characters. And in the 5 books of Moses, God is the boss. Each one is a Bronze Age novel. So how is it that we're still living in the trance of these Bronze Age novels? I mean, it's historical fiction, literary fiction. But it's seen as real. It's seen as real because they got written down at a time when the alphabet comes in to Sanskrit, Greek, and Hebrew, early developers of the alphabet. Once it's written down, and you present it to people who can't read or write, you can say it's the Word of God. And what do they know? And so it becomes incorporated into the cultural mythology of your people. And what's interesting is, from the Mahabharata to the Iliad and the Odyssey, it's chariot culture. It's chariots with Krishna. It's chariots with Odysseus. And in the 5 books of Moses, it's the Pharaoh who has the chariots. And what's interesting is that David represents the Stone Age fighting against modern technology. But that's another whole riff. But you see how these stories have imprinted themselves. The other day, we were at the Rijks looking at the Rembrandts, and I really love the oils more. And all the etchings and all the drawings are up. It's a fantastic collection. And I thought to myself, well, I'm just a Philistine. I prefer the oils. Now, the word Philistine, I call myself a Philistine. What is that? That's an uncultured person. That's a crude person. A Philistine is someone who doesn't have culture, right? Is that true in Dutch also? Yeah. Where does that come from? It comes from David and Goliath. The Philistines actually were sophisticated Mediterranean people who were part of the trading along the coast. And the Hebrews were a Stone Age tribe where David's fighting with rocks against the warrior with a sword. It's actually a Stone Age against the Bronze Age, is what that story is. And we're on the side of the Stone Age. And the Philistines are uncultured. You know? Mind-blowing. And we live in that. So now, if you see the power of that, you see that the 5 books of Moses, a historical fiction, has influenced. It has 2 sequels, right? It has 2 sequels. It has the New Testament and the Koran that are part of the series in order to enlarge the audience. And it works. I mean, you think of the audience that you have with the Koran and the New Testament and the 5 books of Moses, you've got a major audience. So then when you see that it's just all made up, and people are living and dying as if it's real, as if it's the Word of God. The same thing is happening internally. The only reason I mention it is because the same thing is going on inside your head right now. Your thoughts about who you are, where you've come from, what you want, what you're going to do next, who you're with, who you want to be with, who you don't want to be with. All of that is your 5 books of Moses. It's historical fiction. It's based on random events put together with a string of thoughts to justify a story of me. Is that good news or bad news? So for just this time, during our time together, you can put it down. You may not even know you're carrying it. Most of us never examine it. We just assume that money has value, that paper has value. We just assume it's Thursday or whatever day of the week it is. But if we just start to examine everything, in order to do that, you just have to be quiet, internally quiet. This is the thing that is our true gift of freedom that can never be taken away, that can never be sold. You can never, you can't be a consumer of silence. Silence is your nature. And the more you give yourself to your nature, the more you surrender yourself into your nature as silence, the quieter you become internally, the more obvious the light show is. The more easily you see through the games. That's the secret that my teacher passed on. I'm so grateful. It's possible to be quiet. Right now, you can stop. If you full stop right now, no past, no future, nothing to get, nothing to fix, nothing to change, nothing to evolve. Oh. Then you can ask yourself, really, what am I? Am I this body? Am I these thoughts, these feelings, sensations? What am I? You could have read the answer and heard the answer and believed the answer, but none of that works. But to know it without doubt is to give yourself back to yourself. So there's no separation. Then life begins. All clear? Questions? Please come up and either ask me a question or report on your realization. One or the other. Hi. Yeah, please.
It's very awkward sitting here. Okay. If I understand, then if you don't have to do anything, we can just leave. What's the sense of doing anything then?
There's only one thing to do. Find out who you are. That's all.
Okay, I'm Agnes, sitting here, trying to work with people in nature, with children.
Right. So you're a mother.
Yeah, this is my roles.
Yeah.
Essentially, I would just like to live in nature and be there and forget about all society like it's not there. But I'm living in this society, so I'm not living in the old age, in the Stone Age.
That's right.
Which I would like, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But
so now that you're here, what do you want?
Me, I just want to be relaxed, happy, I don't know, sense of fulfillment.
Yes. So where do you get a sense of fulfillment from?
Yeah. From my work, from being a good mother.
Yeah.
Because if I just look for myself to be alone, then something says, hey, what are you doing? Is this enough? Is this not, I mean, when I have this feeling like I would just want to live on a cabin in nature.
Yes.
It says this is what is my contribution to life,
Yes.
or do I just separate myself from life?
If you could live in a cabin on nature, what would that do for you?
I think it would be peaceful.
Yes. Be peaceful. And is that enough?
Oh, at that moment, yes. But I think at that moment, yes. I haven't done it yet long enough to experience if that's fulfilling enough. But I know there's been a lot of people living outside alone, just, don't know, it was enough. They were wise people. And maybe they gave advice, or they had herbs, or, I don't know, something like that.
So you must know there are people living out in nature now, everywhere. Are they fulfilled?
I guess so.
Find out. Since that's what you want, find out if it works or not. Ask them.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that starts also ends. If it has a beginning and an end, that means you'll have it for a while, then you'll lose it. It means it'll be here, then it's gone. And if that's where you're looking for fulfillment, it will come and go.
Yes, but people say that you should find it in yourself, so it doesn't matter if you live in nature or in a big city, or. And then I get confused. I say, oh, just doesn't work for me.
Okay, well, what do you mean you're confused?
Like, they say if you have your inner peace, you can live everywhere. It doesn't matter where you live, if
That's
it
right.
is in war or in noise or. But I can't.
You can't.
No.
Do you want to?
Don't know.
That's right. That's the point. You see? Until you know...
Because there's a second step.
Yes.
Like, if it is possible to live in inner peace in the midst of war and noise and stupid airplanes and cutting all the trees and poisoning the earth, then if I have inner peace, so it doesn't matter. So I don't have to do anything, just I have my inner peace and everything get destroyed and it doesn't matter.
That's your belief, that that's what will happen if you have inner peace.
Yeah.
It's not my experience.
So what's yours?
My experience is when you have inner peace, you're more active. You're actually making a difference in the world. You can actually reach out and spread love from heart to heart. Because once you are love, it spreads quite naturally. But right now, you see the horror in the world, but there's really nothing you can do about it. Yeah. So, that's not really working. You can't really have inner peace knowing that. So then the question is, how can you actually make a difference in this world of suffering?
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter, then you just, I mean, sometimes you have the feeling like you should do something big.
Yeah.
Like big movements or demonstrations or voting or I don't know, whatever. But I feel like I can just reach maybe 2, 3, 5 people, 10 people.
Start with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Just start with yourself. That's very big. That's huge. Is to just start with yourself, to be willing to confront yourself. That's huge. You can't help anyone else until you've helped yourself.
Okay. Thank you.
So then really, see, the question is, for you, what do you want for life, you know? You see how you've spent your life so far. You see it hasn't really given you fulfillment. You think that if you lived somewhere else you would be happy and fulfilled. So what you're trying so far hasn't worked.
Not enough, no.
Not enough.
Sometimes.
Sometimes, of course, sometimes. But not enough. So why continue doing what doesn't work?
Because I don't know the other way.
Well, that's why you're here. So the other way has to be your commitment to yourself to be willing for whatever it takes.
Still a bit vague.
It's a little bit
vague, like
vague.
What should you do then?
Yeah, well, that's what you do. Just be willing. So then you examine yourself where you're not willing. That's what you do. You tell the truth to yourself where you're not willing. Where it's good enough, it's okay, let it slide.
And how do you connect then with the steps you take? I mean, we live here, we have to do something.
You take the first step. The first step is the willingness to confront yourself, to find out where you're not willing. Take that step and then you'll see what the next step is.
It unfolds.
Yes, it unfolds quite naturally.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, please. Thank you. Hi.
Actually, my heart is beating strongly and I have no question in mind at the moment. Just wanted to come up here.
All right, you did it. Look around. Just look at these beautiful people. As long as you're here. See radiant beauty everywhere.
It's exciting. I feel how there's this urge inside to do something or to go somewhere else.
And what's hiding behind that?
I don't know at the moment. I don't know. Usually I know it's fear. Usually, there's no fear at the moment. Or, well, I guess that's a little.
So what are you afraid of?
Kind of like getting lost or something, and having no kind of losing everything.
Yes. That's the way home. When you're willing to be lost and lose everything in the search for truth, in the search for yourself, in the search for love, that's the way in. Because everything that you've known is known, hasn't worked. Hasn't given you final, whatever it is you're searching for. So it's beautiful. You came up here, you said you didn't have a question, but behind that, there's this impulse, and behind that is the fear. And behind that is this terror of losing orientation, losing control, floating in space. Beautiful. And what do you want?
I don't know exactly.
I don't know what you want?
No. The easy answer would be to stay in this state of calmness, but it's not like, doesn't feel completely natural to, it would be.
So what do you want? Deeper than that.
I feel there's this energy and anger and fighting.
Good.
Which has no direction actually, but it's like,
Yep.
it's like this.
But that has nothing to do with what you really want. There's fear, then there's the energy of anger and fighting, there's all this stuff going on. But what is it you really want? Until you know that, nothing else is possible.
Yeah.
It's like if I say, if I'm on the street and I say, I've got to take a bus, and they say, where are you going? Well, I'm not sure. But I know I got to take a bus.
It feels like silence, and this deeper is the bus, but yeah, I don't know exactly what's the destination.
Yes. So the tendency is to use silence as a way of avoiding anger, fear, all the stuff that's coming up. Instead of dissociating from it, be it. And it'll show you what you really want.
Okay.
Because if you live your life dissociated from it, it's like a manufactured piece. So let yourself be fully incarnate. Like right now, what if you were fully incarnate all the way down to your hands and toes?
Yeah, I feel it's like getting hot in my body.
Good.
It's like
We're getting warm. It's good.
yeah, I feel the touch of my feet, how it's like.
Yeah. Good. Then you stand on your own 2 feet and you say, this is what I must. This is where I give myself. This is what I want.
Come again, oh, sorry.
You stand on your own 2 feet and you say, this is what I want. Whatever it is. Whatever you call it.
This is what I want.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And you incarnate fully into that. Mind and body is one. Emotions, feelings, impulses, all welcome. Ooh, that's scary.
Yes.
Good. Okay.
That's actually the impulse to
Good. Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes, please. Hi.
There's this sensation of burning in my entire body.
Yes.
And I can't stop laughing.
Yes. 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 Those are confirming signs. Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
I'm so glad.
Thank you so much.
Welcome home.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes. Mm. Yes. Yes. Mm. Hi.
It's Maya.
Naya, Eli.
Okay, I find this very nerve-wracking. What I wanted to ask is, I've been doing a lot of work on myself lately. I've went from very insecure to now setting my boundaries and knowing what I want and trying to show myself. And this weekend I was at a festival, Eigen-Tijdsfestival, and I experienced that I got a lot of attention and people were inspired by me, and instantly I get the voice, do you think you're better than them, blah, 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 like the specialness. And I'm afraid to acknowledge my own qualities because I'm afraid that I will become arrogant, or and it's even scarier for me to stand in my power than to be insecure about myself. And I want to experience to acknowledge my powers and be humble about it, and I don't know how.
It's impossible.
It's impossible. Okay, well.
Because the very idea of my powers is arrogance.
Okay. Qualities, whatever.
My power is
Mhm.
arrogance.
Okay.
And so when people are connecting, they're not connecting with me. They're connecting with something deeper. They're connecting with something essential.
Love.
Love.
Yeah.
So love is not something that you own.
No.
And it's not something that needs anything. Does love need acknowledgement? No.
No, but that's the thing, when I feel the connection of love, like, it's because of love that we have that connection.
Yes.
But then my voice in my head goes, oh, you think you're special, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And
So the voice in your head that
Mhm.
thinks you're special is also the voice in your head that thinks you did it. Those two together.
yeah, they go together. Yeah.
As long as I did it, it's special. If there's no one here doing it, there's no one to be special.
Yeah. But I don't want to have that thought.
Well, that thought is your clue that there's still somebody here that needs investigation. Is it real or not? Who is it that has this thought?
My ego.
Very good. So what's the
Yeah.
difference between ego and self?
The ego is made up.
That's right. And what are the qualities of ego?
Nothing.
So this is a little too fast to learn, but really when you say that voice in your head, what is that?
It's the voice in my head is the critical thinker that doesn't want me to experience joy or just wants.
So there's a critical thinker that has some relationship to doesn't want me to experience joy.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a me and an it.
Yeah.
So every time that critical thinker shows up, that means there's a me here also.
Don't really get it.
It means you don't have a critical thinker without a me.
Mm-hmm.
They both show up at the same time.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you fight with the critical thinker, it's only the me that's fighting. Both of them, not real.
Yeah.
So if the me and the critical thinker disappear for just a moment, what's left?
Love and unity and whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's useful that that voice shows up. Useful. It shows you there's still a me here that hasn't been dealt with, that you believe is real.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing of, self-acknowledgement is a tricky business. Battered egos need ego strengthening. And so at a certain stage, battered egos need self-esteem, need to feel good about themselves, need to feel okay about themselves. That's all ego strengthening, and it's useful to a point. And then you realize there's something more fundamental than this egoic me. And it doesn't need acknowledgement. It doesn't need anything. It's already fulfilled. So then you see what you're serving. If you're serving the me, you're fighting with the voice. If you're serving yourself, there's no me and no voice and no problem.
Yeah. Well, I'm not there yet.
Who says so?
The voice. Okay. Yeah.
So what if in that moment you catch yourself and you don't follow that thought? I'm not there yet. Who says so? What if you don't touch that thought? Then what?
Then I'm there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Okay.
That's discipline. It's not touching that next thought. Then you don't need to pump yourself up with feeling good about yourself, and you don't need to feel scared that you're overinflating yourself. All that discussion is finished.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
I'm so glad. So next is discipline.
Yes.
To know the difference. Is this myself or is this my ego talking?
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Yes. So glad. Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Just was sitting there and I noticed how I'm trying to take in a position towards you. Like, I'm sure I do that all the time, but now it's just really obvious. Like, based on past experiences, also here on stage, and I just either want to slap you over the head or just lay down and be under. You know, that's so I just wanted to expose that, and
Those are the reactive tendencies of mind to push and to give up.
Yeah, to really take a position and to throw things in between.
Yes.
This actually like fresh meeting, because when I when I'm just sitting here, basically that's all made up.
Yes. Yes. Good. Even when you're sitting there, it's made up.
I know, totally. But still, I had never seen it so clearly.
Oh, good.
But I really want to be like under or above.
Yes.
You know, a position seems to be safer than.
Yes. 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 So then, safety doesn't matter. What if you're not safe? So what? No position.
Well, I actually feel a lot of that's very different. It feels much stronger than I usually feel. I'm more powerful, but then a power that doesn't need to go anywhere or do anything.
Yes. Yes. Be yourself. Good.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you too. Really wanted to see you.
Yes, please.
Yeah, my question is, I know the love, the vibrant, love for me, for you, for everybody, but I cannot really, like you can tell by this, I cannot really put it into words because it's beyond words, and I find it actually pretty frustrating, pretty hard to feel so much within me and not be able to make it clear that easily to other people.
Speaking about it will never make it clear.
No, I know. I know it won't. But I have a very depressed boyfriend that is, yeah, so he doesn't really believe in love anyways. So then I'm here with all my love and I'm like, yeah, oh, wow, it's so... And he's just totally... he's the other side, on the other side, you know, of that whole part. And I know that I cannot do anything about that. But, yeah, I don't know. It's just very confusing because I can feel all of this, but I don't know really what to do with it.
Nothing.
Nothing, just nothing.
Don't do anything with it. Let it use you. Let it do with you. Let love use your life instead of you using love.
Yeah, but then I feel need to know what I need.
Love doesn't need to know what. You need to know what. So let love know. Let love be in charge. Love is wiser.
Mm.
If love lives your life, instead of you using love, when you want to use love, you can't because you're frustrated, you don't know how, you don't know what to do.
Mm.
That's called the ego.
Yeah.
That's what's between love and the world.
Yeah, and that is sucking me, you know, ego is getting me out of love again and
That's
again,
right.
you know. I am love and I feel eternal love, but it's just, I don't know why, but every time when I'm in this society, now I'm blaming society, that's not very fair. I want to externalize it, you know. But I keep, you know, yeah, ego is just keeping me away from it, yeah. And I actually, on this moment I'm at the point that I don't really know Oh, that's bullshit, I know. Sorry for the monologue, but...
Hey, if you keep them laughing, you can keep rolling.
No, there's just so much bullshit I have to get through, because I already know everything, but I keep up summing up reasons why I shouldn't do something or I don't know something.
Knowing doesn't count.
Damn, but it feels so safe.
Feels so safe.
Yeah.
That's ego. Ego knows to be safe. Love is unknown. It's like an ocean, and you have a little cup. Oh, sorry. You have a little cup. You say, "Oh, I know what love is. I've got it right here. I want to use this to heal my boyfriend."
Yeah, but the damn boy doesn't drink it. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you surrender to love, you surrender all of your knowing. When you surrender your knowing, you surrender your safety. When you surrender knowing and safety to love, it's like falling into the ocean. It's so big. It's so vast. It's beyond your control.
Yeah. And that's what scares me.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's okay. You can be scared. Doesn't matter. Just don't let it stop you.
Yes. Thank you.
I'm so glad.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Do you hear yourself in all of this? I mean, it's all the same mind, Really.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Hi. I've been fully present and waiting to be touched. And I'm deeply touched now.
Good. You can stop waiting.
Yeah. It's been my call up here, and I would want to ask you to say the same thing one more time so I can truly hear it.
You've heard it. And you can trust yourself that you've heard it. Whatever it is you want me to say, listen to your own heart and hear it.
Yeah. It's huge.
Yes. Huge. Beyond belief.
Beyond.
Yes. Yes. So it seems like there's an it that's so huge and there's a you. But then you surrender to it.
Yeah.
And it eats you.
It does.
Yes. And just like any food, when we eat the food, it becomes a part of us. So you are the food of love, and when love eats you.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm so glad. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes. This is this holy fire that this holy fire that this gentleman was talking about earlier. It's a burning. Yes, please.
Hello.
Hi.
The bit that I always seem to struggle with is the notion of silence. If you're going along very nice and you say, okay, let's be silent, and this starts, and for some reason the Beach Boys came into my head, and then what the hell are the Beach Boys doing there? Sorry, they were sat there. Why was the Beach Boys? I have no idea, but I can't.
Good vibrations.
Oh, yes. Yeah, well, that's. If I'd have thought of that, sleep zombie. But it's experience. My mind tells me that I've not experienced silence.
Yes.
And that feels like every time you say, okay, let's be quiet, it's almost like a trigger.
Actually, it's going all the time, but once I say be quiet, you're noticing it.
So, where's the silence?
Everywhere. Where's the noise?
The noise is there.
Yeah, so? Where's silence?
Clearly not in there.
Where? Right now. Listen. Listen more deeply inside. And what's there?
What's there? Oh.
Silence is always here. Your thoughts come and go. But you jump from one to the next as if they're continuous. But silence is always here. Any moment you can stop, as you did just now. It's like right now, just stop right in this moment, and we're silence.
Oh, it's that subtle distinction again, isn't it?
It starts that way, and then you discover it's much bigger and deeper than you realize. And then it's much vaster than that. And then it's beyond. And then it's terrifying extinction. And then it's life.
Okay.
Good.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you.
Very good. Yes. Hello.
I feel to my heart that I want to say something. I can feel it in my belly and in my heart that I want to be here, but I'm also afraid of going here and showing myself.
Yes. It's natural. And you're afraid and you came up anyway. That's the point. Then fear has no way of stopping you.
Yeah.
Then fear is welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is that when you welcome fear? What's that first instant?
It's my heart. I know it. My body, it wants to do something.
Yes.
Which my fear wants me not to do.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's like coming up and pushing down.
Yes.
And coming up, pushing down.
So then if fear has no control, what if you can welcome fear and it doesn't push you one way or another?
Can you say that again?
What if you welcome fear and it doesn't push you up or down?
then I feel so alive.
Yes, that's it. That's the beginning. It's beautiful. Some fear is your teacher. Every time it pushes you up or down, you're not feeling alive.
That's quite often.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That's why you're here.
Yes.
It's time. It's time to start living.
Yeah, that's what I can feel, that it's time.
Yes. So then let fear be your teacher. It's welcome. It's showing you where you're holding on. What do you want?
This life. Actually, what I'm feeling, this life, it's what I want.
Yes.
And what I don't want at the same time.
What don't you want?
People seeing me like this.
Why?
Because I feel ashamed.
Shame.
Yes.
So in that moment of laughter, where was the shame?
Gone.
So what does that mean about shame? How real is it if it's gone as soon as you start laughing?
It's so small. No.
Not even that small, really. If it's gone, what could it be made out of?
My mind.
What's that made out of?
Nothing.
Nothing. So if it's made of nothing, what's the problem? Good. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Good. Okay, Barbara. Hi.
A report.
Yes, good.
It's been 2 years.
Yes.
Busy years. A lot of fear. And realization. What if I'm never safe? What if?
And?
Then there's just nothing. And there was a whole lot of love, and there is.
Yes.
What if I'm never safe?
Yes.
So that's the only question for me.
Yes.
And that's what it's all about. This.
Good.
It was all in the mind.
Yes.
All in the mind. And such a waste of time.
Yes.
All the time.
Yes.
Every minute, every moment, every second. And all I want is love. I thought freedom, it's also a concept. But I wanted to be free. I wanted to be, and that's love.
Yes.
So it's a beautiful cycle.
Yes. Freedom is love. And where is there safety?
There's no safety.
Right.
There's no safety in nothing.
Yes.
Really nothing.
Yes.
It's such a... It was a terror.
Yes.
But it's not real.
Yes.
But it was a terror.
Yes. Oh, I'm so glad.
So, thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. So glad. So good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see me. That I see me.
Yeah.
It's better.
Yeah, it's much better.
Than all the made up stories. It's stories. Stories about fear, stories about unsafe, and stories about control. And
yeah, that's all about me.
It's all about me. It's all egocentric.
Yeah. Yes.
Such bullshit.
Good. Thank you. Okay, last person. Last one. Hi.
I was really afraid to go on the stage. I've always been afraid of going onto stage. So I thought I'm just gonna try.
Sure. Here you are. So look around. Look at everybody.
Hi. I want to talk about just how I feel that I have to do a lot of things, and I feel like I'm not free. And I would like to change that feeling, always being having to do things and need to do things. Can be free, can just do whatever I want. And yeah, I would just like to change that.
There's a difference between freedom and doing whatever I want. Actually, freedom is really disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's based in integrity. And in integrity, I do what must be done. When it's based in rules and what I have to do and should do,
yes.
We live in a slave planet.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like that. Yeah.
Well, it's, whether you feel it or not, it's true.
Yeah.
We live on a slave planet, and it's all about continuing production and consuming. Consume more, produce more, consume more, produce more.
Yeah.
That's the slave planet we live in, because we're no longer able to grow our own food. We don't hunt our own food. We are part of a chain, and that chain this stretches around the world, and we're all interdependent. And in that, it's like a hive. You can't do whatever you want to do. You do what your job is.
Yeah.
But you can be free in the midst of that.
Okay.
And the way you are free in the midst of that is by finding out what's untouched. Who you are that's been the same your whole life. Your body has changed, your personality has changed, your behaviors have changed, your thinking has changed, but something hasn't changed. That unchanging moment, that unchanging stillness is free.
So I have to find that.
Yes, find that. Find that and you'll find freedom. And then your life will be an expression of that, regardless of what work you may have to do.
Yes.
Good. Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah,
I'm so
thank
glad
you.
you came up. Yes. So beautiful. We can see how we reflect each other, how it's all the same mind playing in different form. And then both the bad dreams and the truth of love, present in all forms. So, I'm so glad we have this time together. So glad that we have this rare opportunity in Mother Earth where there's this moment of peace and harmony and prosperity, that we have the time and the food and the safety and security that we can meet in freedom. It's been very unusual in this world, and it may be gay again, but this moment, it's possible for you to wake up and be free. In this moment, this can be the ridgepole that the rest of your life revolves around. If you are willing to stop here, now, as you are, with nothing to fix, nothing to change, just closing the door on all the exits, so that all that's left is facing yourself. And you'll find the truth, you'll find yourself, you'll find freedom and love, you'll find fulfillment. Then love will live your body-mind. Instead of you trying to capture it, it lives you. And your life is an expression of that, in ways you can't imagine. I could never imagine being here doing this, growing up. This was not my... But what a mystery. What an unbelievable mystery that we get to meet this way. So, thank you so much. Thank you for your willingness and your time. May all beings be free.